Let me ask you something. What if everything you've been taught to believe about God, the universe, and your very existence has been filtered, manipulated, and reshaped to keep you from knowing the full truth? What if the most profound, liberating truth of all time has been hidden in plain sight, guarded by those who benefit from your ignorance? Today we're going to dig deep into this hidden truth, and I promise you, by the end of this journey, your perception of God, yourself, and the world will change forever. First, we need to explore the basic premise: who or what is God? Most of us have been conditioned to think of God as an external figure, a separate, all-powerful being sitting on a throne, passing judgment, rewarding some and punishing others. This image has been perpetuated for centuries, not because it's true, but because it serves a purpose. That purpose is control. Think about it. If you believe that God is distant, external, and unreachable, then you're forced to look outside yourself for guidance, validation, and salvation. And you hand over your power to religious institutions, governments, or societal systems that claim to represent God's will. But what if I told you that God is not separate from you? What if I told you that the divine is within you, and it always has been?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Let me ask you, why is it that so many spiritual teachings across time and cultures hint at this same idea that God is not out there, but in here, within us? Ancient texts, mystics, and enlightened beings have been whispering this truth for millennia, but it's been buried under layers of doctrine, dogma, and distortion. Why? Because if you truly understood that you carry the essence of the divine, you would be unstoppable. You would no longer be dependent on external authorities to tell you how to live, what to believe, or what your purpose is. You would realize that you are a co-creator of your reality, a spark of the infinite, with the power to shape your life and the world around you. And that is precisely what the elite doesn't want you to know. Now, let's go deeper. The elite, those who hold power in this world, have always understood the power of belief. They know that if they can control what you believe about God, they can control you. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a pattern that's played out throughout history. Look at how religious institutions have been used to justify wars, oppress populations, and accumulate wealth. Look at how fear of damnation, fear of sin, fear of the unknown has been weaponized to keep people obedient and compliant. And look at how the idea of God has been turned into a tool of division, with different groups claiming exclusive access to the truth and fighting over whose version of God is correct. But here's the shocking truth: God cannot be owned, defined, or limited. God is not confined to a book, a building, or a belief system. God is infinite, and so are you. Let me ask you another question. How would your life change if you truly believed that you are a part of God, that the divine spark is within you? What would you do differently? How would you think, act, and live? This is the question the elite doesn't want you to ask, because the moment you start living from this truth, you become free. Free from fear, free from manipulation, and free from the systems that profit from your disempowerment. And let me tell you, this freedom is your birthright. You were born with it. You've just forgotten. But how did we forget? How did humanity lose touch with this profound truth? The answer lies in distraction. The world we live in is designed to keep you focused on everything but your inner self. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, you're bombarded with noise, news, social media, entertainment, consumerism. You're told to chase success, wealth, and approval, as if these things will fill the void inside you. But they never do, because the void can only be filled by reconnecting with your divine essence. And the more disconnected you are, the easier it is for others to control you. The elite understands this. They understand that a distracted, divided, and disconnected population is easier to manipulate. They know that the more you look outside yourself for answers, the less likely you are to discover the truth within. This is why they promote a version of spirituality that keeps you small, one that emphasizes obedience over empowerment, fear over love, and separation over unity. But here's the thing: the truth cannot be suppressed forever. It's like a seed buried deep in the earth. No matter how much dirt you pile on top of it, it will eventually break through and reach for the light. And that's exactly what's happening now. Let me ask you one more question for now. Have you ever felt a deep, unshakable knowing that there's more to life than what you've been told? That feeling is not your imagination. It's the truth within you, trying to break through the layers of conditioning and remind you of who you really are. It's the voice of your soul, calling you back to your divine essence. And the more you listen to it, the more you will begin to see through the illusions of this world. This is the first step to uncovering the hidden truth about God, recognizing that everything you've been taught might not be the full story. It requires courage to question, to explore, and to go within. But when you do, you'll discover something extraordinary. The divine is not a distant figure watching you from above. It's the very life force flowing through you. It's the love in your heart, the light in your soul, and the infinite potential within your being. And once you realize this, you'll understand why the elite works so hard to keep this knowledge from you. Because a person who knows they are divine cannot be controlled. They are free. Now that you've begun to see through the layers of conditioning, we must address the most critical question of all: how do you reclaim your power and reconnect with the divine within you? The journey to awakening isn't something that happens by accident. It requires intention, effort, and courage. The systems that have worked tirelessly to keep you disconnected are not going to simply let go, and the illusions they've created around you are deeply woven into every aspect of your life. But here's the truth: the illusions only have power if you give them power. And once you realize this, the illusion begins to crumble. First, you must understand that reclaiming your divine power starts with perception. The way you see the world shapes the way you experience it. For most of us, our perception has been programmed by external forces: media, culture, education systems, and even well-meaning family members. From a young age, we're taught to focus on what's outside of us rather than what's within. We're told that success, happiness, and fulfillment come from achieving certain milestones, acquiring certain possessions, or meeting certain standards. But let me ask you something: has this ever truly satisfied you? Have you ever reached a point where you felt complete, where you no longer craved something more? If you're honest with yourself, the answer is likely no. And that's because the external world can never fill the internal void. The first step to breaking free from the illusion is to shift your focus inward. This might sound simple, but it's one of the most radical acts you can undertake. Why? Because the world is designed to keep you looking outward. Every advertisement, every headline, every societal expectation is a distraction, pulling you away from the truth that lies within you. But when you turn your attention inward, when you begin to quiet the noise and listen to the voice of your soul, you open the door to your true power. Let me give you something practical to do right now. Take a moment to sit in stillness. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, who am I? Not your name, not your job, not your roles or titles. Those are just masks you wear. Who are you beneath all of that? This question has been posed by spiritual teachers for centuries, not because it has a simple answer, but because it forces you to look beyond the surface. It forces you to confront the essence of your being. And here's the shocking truth: when you strip away all the layers, what you find is not emptiness, it's infinity. You are not just a human being, you are a fragment of the divine, a spark of the infinite consciousness that we call God. This realization is the key to reclaiming your power. Once you understand that you are not separate from God, you begin to see the world differently. You realize that the limitations you've accepted as reality are just illusions, and that you have the power to create a new reality. But here's the catch: reclaiming your power requires you to take full responsibility for your life. You can no longer blame others, or circumstances, or the systems that have oppressed you. Yes, those systems exist, and yes, they have played a role in shaping your experience. But the moment you recognize your own divinity, you take back the power they've stolen from you. You become the creator of your reality, rather than a victim of it. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim your divine power is through connection with yourself, with others, and with the infinite intelligence of the universe. Start with yourself. Spend time in stillness every day, whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in nature. This is not about doing anything, it's about being. It's about creating space for your soul to speak, for your intuition to guide you, and for the divine within you to come alive. The more you nurture this connection, the more aligned you become with your true self. But don't stop there. Your connection with others is equally important. The illusion of separation is one of the greatest lies ever told. It's the idea that we are isolated individuals, disconnected from each other and from the world around us. But the truth is, we are all connected. We are all expressions of the same divine source, experiencing life through different perspectives. When you begin to see others this way, not as strangers, but as mirrors of yourself, you open the door to profound love and compassion. And when you act from this place of unity, you become a force for transformation in the world. Finally, connect with the infinite intelligence of the universe. Call it God, Source, the Divine, or whatever resonates with you. This is not about following a specific religion or set of rules. It's about cultivating a personal relationship with the infinite. How do you do this? By trusting. Trusting that you are guided, supported, and loved by a force greater than yourself. Trusting that every challenge you face is an opportunity for growth, and that every step you take is part of a greater plan. When you live from this place of trust, you reclaim your power in a way that no system, no elite, and no illusion can ever take from you. Now that you've begun to understand the divine power within you, we need to address one of the most critical barriers to realizing that truth: fear. Fear is the primary weapon used by the elite, the invisible architects of the systems that control our world, to keep you disconnected from God, from yourself, and from the infinite potential of reality. Fear is the foundation of the matrix you live in, the invisible prison that most people accept as reality. But if you can understand how fear works, how it's used to manipulate you, and how to rise above it, you'll discover a freedom that most can only dream of. Let me ask you, what is fear really? At its most basic level, fear is a survival mechanism. It's an evolutionary response designed to protect you from harm. But in the world we live in, fear has been weaponized. It's no longer just about survival, it's about control. Fear keeps you small. It keeps you doubting yourself, questioning your worth, and staying in your comfort zone. It keeps you looking outside yourself for safety, guidance, and validation. And most importantly, fear keeps you from realizing your connection to the divine. Ask yourself, what are you afraid of? Fear takes many forms. For some, it's the fear of failure, rejection, or judgment. For others, it's the fear of the unknown, of losing control, or of not being enough. But underneath all of these is a deeper fear, a fear of your own power. Because here's the paradox: while fear keeps you small, a part of you knows that stepping beyond fear means stepping into your greatness. And greatness is terrifying because it requires you to let go of everything you've been taught to believe about yourself and the world. The elite knows this. They know that fear is the ultimate tool of control. Look at the systems around you: media, politics, religion, education. What do they all have in common? They thrive on fear. The media bombards you with stories of disaster, division, and despair, keeping you in a constant state of anxiety. Politics uses fear to divide you, to pit you against your fellow human beings, and to make you believe that you need someone else to save you. Even many religious institutions rely on fear of sin, fear of punishment, fear of an external God who is always watching and judging. Why? Because a fearful population is an obedient population. Fear keeps you looking to the systems for answers, instead of looking within. But here's the truth: they don't want you to know fear is an illusion. It has no real power unless you give it power. Fear is like a shadow. It can seem overwhelming, but it's only there because you've turned away from the light. The moment you turn back to the light, the divine truth within you, the shadow disappears. This is why awakening to your divine nature is the ultimate act of rebellion. When you realize that you are infinite, eternal, and connected to the source of all creation, fear loses its grip on you. And when fear loses its grip, the systems that depend on your fear begin to crumble. Let me ask you another question. What would your life look like if you weren't afraid? Think about it. If you weren't afraid of failure, what risks would you take? If you weren't afraid of judgment, how boldly would you express yourself? If you weren't afraid of lack, how freely would you give? And if you weren't afraid of death, how fully would you live? This is the life you were meant to live, a life beyond fear, a life aligned with the infinite love and power of the divine. But how do you rise above fear? How do you break free from the matrix and reclaim your connection to God? It starts with awareness. You must first recognize the ways in which fear shows up in your life. Pay attention to your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors. Notice when fear is driving your decisions. Are you staying in a job you hate because you're afraid of the unknown? Are you holding back from pursuing your dreams because you're afraid of failure? Are you suppressing your true self because you're afraid of what others might think? Once you become aware of these patterns, you can begin to break them. The next step is to confront your fear. This doesn't mean fighting it or trying to suppress it. Fear is not your enemy, it's a messenger. It's showing you where you're still holding on to limiting beliefs, where you're still disconnected from your truth. Instead of running from fear, sit with it. Ask it what it's trying to teach you, and then choose to act anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the willingness to move forward despite it. Every time you choose love over fear, truth over illusion, and faith over doubt, you weaken the matrix's hold on you and strengthen your connection to the divine. Finally, you must cultivate trust in yourself, in the universe, and in the divine plan unfolding around you. The systems of the matrix want you to believe that the world is random, chaotic, and dangerous, and that you are powerless to change it. But this couldn't be further from the truth. The universe is not random, it is intelligent, loving, and purposeful. And you are not powerless, you are a co-creator of your reality. Trust that every challenge you face is an opportunity for growth. Trust that every step you take is guided by a higher intelligence. And trust that, no matter how dark the world may seem, the light within you is stronger. The elite may try to keep you in the dark, but the light within you cannot be extinguished. You were born to awaken, you were born to remember, and you were born to rise above the matrix and live as the divine being you truly are. Now that you've begun to see through the matrix of fear and understand the divine power within you, the next step is liberation. Liberation isn't just about breaking free from the illusions and control of the elite, it's about stepping into your true role as a conscious creator of your reality. It's about living in alignment with your highest self and embodying the infinite potential that has always been within you. This isn't just a mental exercise, it's a way of being, a way of living that transforms not only your life, but the world around you. Let me ask you, do you believe you have the power to create your reality? Most people don't. They've been conditioned to think of life as something that happens to them, not through them. They see themselves as victims of circumstances, powerless to change the world or escape the systems that hold them back. But what if I told you that everything you experience in life is a reflection of your inner state? What if I told you that your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions are the building blocks of your reality? This is not just a spiritual idea, it's a truth that has been echoed by mystics, quantum physicists, and ancient wisdom traditions alike. When you begin to take responsibility for your reality, everything changes. Responsibility doesn't mean blame, it means recognizing that you have the power to choose. You have the power to choose your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and your beliefs. And those choices shape the reality you experience. The elite doesn't want you to know this because a population that understands its creative power cannot be controlled. But the truth is, you've been creating your reality all along, only now you have the chance to do it consciously. The first key to liberation is awareness. You must become aware of the patterns, beliefs, and emotions that have been shaping your reality up until now. This requires honesty and courage. Ask yourself, what have I been creating in my life? Are you creating abundance or scarcity, love or fear, freedom or limitation? Look at the recurring themes in your relationships, your career, your health, and your sense of purpose. These are mirrors of your inner state. They're not punishments or rewards, they're feedback, showing you where you are aligned with your truth and where you are not. Once you have this awareness, the second key is intention. What do you want to create? What kind of life, relationships, and experiences do you want to manifest? More importantly, how do you want to feel? The Matrix teaches you to focus on external goals, money, status, possessions, but true liberation comes from focusing on your internal state. When you align with feelings like love, joy, peace, and gratitude, you naturally attract experiences that reflect those feelings. This is not magic or wishful thinking, it's the law of resonance. The energy you emit is the energy you attract. But intention alone is not enough. The third key to liberation is action. You must take aligned, inspired action toward the reality you want to create. This doesn't mean forcing or controlling, it means flowing with the guidance of your intuition and the opportunities the universe presents to you. Let me ask you, are your daily actions aligned with the life you want to create? If not, what can you do today, right now, to take one step closer to that vision? Remember, liberation is not a single event, it's a process, a series of choices you make every day. The fourth key is trust. Trust is what allows you to move forward, even when the path is unclear. Trust is what keeps you anchored in your truth, even when the world around you seems chaotic. Trust is what reminds you that you are always supported by the divine, even when you face challenges. And yes, challenges will come. The Matrix doesn't let go easily, and stepping into your power often means confronting the parts of yourself that still hold fear, doubt, or resistance. But every challenge is an invitation to grow. Every obstacle is an opportunity to deepen your trust and expand your awareness. Let me ask you one final question for this journey. What would the world look like if everyone lived in alignment with their divine power? Imagine it. A world where people no longer act out of fear, but out of love. A world where creativity, collaboration, and compassion replace competition, division, and control. A world where we recognize our unity with each other and with the earth. This is not a fantasy, it's a possibility. But it starts with you. The moment you embody your divine power, you become a beacon of light for others. You show them what's possible. You inspire them to awaken. Liberation is not just about freeing yourself, it's about co-creating a new reality for all of humanity. The systems of the Matrix may seem powerful, but they are nothing compared to the power of an awakened soul. And when enough of us remember who we are, when enough of us choose love over fear, truth over illusion, and unity over separation, the Matrix will dissolve. Not through force, but through the sheer magnitude of our collective light. So, the question is, are you ready to embody your divine power? Are you ready to take responsibility for your life, to create consciously, and to trust in the infinite intelligence of the universe? Are you ready to live in alignment with the truth of who you are and inspire others to do the same? Because the time is now. The world is waiting, and you are the key to its liberation. Thank you for taking this journey to uncover what has been hidden. You are divine, you are powerful, and you are free.